With a side scan on my right or on my left, disadvantage is that because of this freedom you have, move back and forth and you make an... Oh, okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting fishing style, the offshore plug, offshore casting, call it however you want. Actually, it's casting lures from the boat, and it's very similar with what we do on the rocks, short jigging, but you simply use your boat to do the exact same thing. So it's not actually an offshore, it's more like a near shore fishing style, because you usually don't go far from the shore. You simply do what you used to do, but in the opposite way. In short jigging, you cast from the rocks towards the sea, but in offshore plug, near shore plug, you simply cast from the boat towards the shore. That's simple. It is a very interesting fishing style because, guys, you can target a wide range of fish. You can take advantage of places that you from the shore you cannot reach. There are many advantages, but let's get all the advantages and disadvantages, of course, one by one. Let's talk about the advantages.
But this is what is. It is a fish, and okay. But it acts like a snapper, bro. Yes, I will need a net, but come on, it's so shallow. This is dinner, bro. This is a snapper. This is a snapper, bro. Oppa! I will kill you. I'm not like that. The other way. Okay. Oh, this is dinner, bro. I'm so happy.
The biggest advantage in offshore plug is you fish effectively where all the other offshore anglers won't fish. Why? Because most anglers that have a boat, they tend to go far and deep, 8 meters, 100 or even more, and target for really nice fish. But this is exactly what we are not going to do. We are going to stay shallow, and we are going to get fish that, as I said, the others can't get. Because, guys, picture this. A pack of snappers at 20 meters depth. How can you get them from a boat? If you are above them, they won't pay too much attention to whatever. You bring them down, even if it is a live bait. You are just above their head and they know, especially in high pressured areas. But if you were, let's say, 50 or 80 meters away and cast above them or near them, that could do the trick. What do you think? course cast hacker. What else? So, in a first glance, we can understand that offshore plugging, nearshore plugging, call it whatever, it's up to you, is the key to get really, really impressive fish, but in the shallows. And I prefer mostly areas between 10, sometimes even 5, but 10 to 30 meters. And the widest range I tend to fish is 5 to 40, sometimes even 50 meters, but only with jigs at these depths. You cannot use plugs, soft lures, or whatever. Another advantage of this fishing style is the wide range of lures, as we just mentioned. You can use poppers, you can use topwater lures like walkers, you can use soft lures, you can use jigs, you can use sinking pencils, and you can use even minnows to get whatever you like. So, no matter what the mood the fish are, you always have a lure that will do the job. You simply have to try. Another big advantage for most people, but I wouldn't say that I really appreciate it, is the fact that you don't walk. I mean, for shore jigging, one big part of shore jigging is not the actual fishing, is going to a place. Walk between the nature to reach a distant cape or a rocky shore or whatever. So the advantage here is that you simply don't spend too much energy walking around the cliffs. You don't put your life in danger, in serious danger, and you can fish for more hours, more precise and more concentrated without too much fatigue. Another huge advantage is that you can carry as many rods as, not as many rods as you like, but as many rods as your boat allows you to. So you can have at least 3 sets. So you can have a light offshore plugging rod, a medium offshore plugging rod, and you can have a heavy offshore plugging rod. So depending the conditions, the fish, or wherever you go, because you change places all the time, you can use the adequate gear for each circumstance. Let's say you have an HH rod in your hands, but you see mahi-mahi jumping in the surface. You put it on the side and you use a light offshore game plug so you can have more fun, because you don't want to use your HH game, right? So that's a big advantage, because you can cover all situations, no matter what the conditions or needs are in each specific area you fish. Do you really want to know the biggest advantage of this fishing style? It's the fact that you very easily you can change places. Guys, you can cover a huge area fishing. You can cast here, if nothing happens, you go there, and you change all the reefs, all the capes, or places that really got your attention. You simply visit and try. So it's hard not to get a fish, right? I mean, yes, there are days that if the fish are not in the mood, no matter what you do or where you go, you won't get fish. But there are other days that if the fish are a bit active, in let's say, for example, in shore jigging, you are in a cape and you're trapped there, you cannot move on your right or on your left, you simply hammer there. And after you get some fish, the fish get stressed and they don't bite. But with a boat, you don't have this problem. You simply change place and problem solved.
Ναι, όπα, πάρ' την. Leader. Okay. Probably a grouper. Definitely a grouper. Beautiful. Beautiful fish.
Another big advantage is the fighting of the fish itself. Of course, when you are from the shore and you are fighting a big fish, especially a lumberjack, a snapper or a grouper, fish that tend to go in the rocks either to break your line or either to find a refuge, the result is always the same. They break your leader because they go in the rocks, because you, if the rocks are like that or even like that, you are here and the fish always try to get wherever it can until it gets under your feet. But from offshore plug, nearshore plug, call it whatever you want, you don't have this problem because usually you drag them again. So if again the drop is like that from the shore, you drag it opposite. So it's really hard to find a refugee. That's it. And you simply, of course, follow the same rules. Rules, because yeah, I'm a lure head. So you always have enough drag pressure on your reel to simply fight effectively the fish, guys. That's it. A big advantage in this style of fishing is also the fact that you have more gear helping you. You have a sonar, you have an GPS electric motor that keeps you in position, things like that. You can't overlook. They are extremely valuable tools, especially if you have a sonar like that can give you more to this style of fishing, is even better. For example, I use the Garmin 1223 XSV, and I'm using two transducers. I use the GT51 for deeper waters, and I love to use the GT56, that it's a powerful tool up to 120 meters. But the biggest advantage is that it's ultra high definition, and even if I go on a relatively flat area, I can see with a side scan on my right or on my left a rock, and I can calculate the distance, so I can stop there and cast toward that rocks. And as you can understand, that's a super powerful tool. It's a bit of a cheating, but we do whatever we can to get a fish, right? That's it.
Okay. Yes. Πηγάτσο. Όμως.
Another big advantage, guys, is that you lose way less lures. As we said, if the drop is like that and you are standing here and you have a snag here, in this case you are pulling your lure towards you. So in the best case, your lure will break and you get back your braid and your leader. In the worst case, if you are snagged there and your braid touches up here, then you might lose all this distance of braid and leader. Sometimes it's many meters. When you cast from offshore, then you simply go above the lure and you start poking it until it releases the grip, if it is on a rock. If it won't get released, you simply go against and you pull with all your power, and then you break on the lure and you save your braid and your leader. So no matter how you see it, it's an advantage, right? But enough with the advantages. As every coin has two sides, there are also some disadvantages also in this style of fishing compared with short jigging. What are these? Let's take them one by one more time. Disadvantage number one: weather conditions. With short jigging, you can go on the rocks and fish even without 5, 6, or if you have balls of steel, more befores. Or you can have a place protected by the wind and waves, and you can fish. But this is not the case with a boat, because with a boat, more than 3 or 4 before starts to be really annoying, and you have to stand to cast. So if the boat moves a lot, it's really tiring, and eventually even more tiring than short jigging. Even if you say, I'm a smart guy, I can go on the covered area to fish, you can't, because the wind is so strong that usually, even if you go from a covered area, the gust of the wind is really strong to lose your GPS motor anchorage, and you are still not stable. So the weather conditions are against you in this style of fishing. And we know that the stronger the weather conditions are, the more active the fish are. So you are losing a big part of the game. But that's life. So you do both short jigging and offshore plugging, and also the weather conditions can stop your fishing unexpectedly. For example, if you start fishing and you have a 3 before wind and suddenly it grows to a 5 and the weather predictions haven't seen that, bye-bye fishing, and you run to go back and destroy your fishing. Another disadvantage is the gas, the fuel you have to burn in this style of fishing, because as I said, you usually move back and forth and try here and there. So what I have seen is that the motor barely turns off, and that costs fuel. Another big disadvantage is that because of this freedom you have to try so many new places, many times you spend way more hours cruising here and there. So eventually, at the end of the day, if you look at the hours you spend fishing and the hours you spend cruising, you can see that you actually lost a huge amount of hours by moving up and down. So eventually, did you actually fish, or you just had a nice cruise in the sea? Persist. Don't spend too much time in cruising. When you go to a place, really search it very, 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 very carefully. Okay? Another big disadvantage is the fact that this depth is heavily attacked by professional fishermen. Of course, these guys, they try to do their job for a living, but they accidentally lose lots of long lines and nets at this specific range of depths. And guess whose lures getting snag on them? Ours. So you have to be very, very careful, because guys, it's hard. It's hard to lose a lure on a long line or on a net. I hope I got your attention with the advantages and of course disadvantages of this awesome fishing style. Make sure that you are subscribed, because part number 2 with other parts of this interesting fishing style about how to search an area, how to search the depth, where to cast, are about to come.
It's the first bonito of Hugo! Ah! Okay.
Don't miss part 2. So make sure that you have been subscribed. Big help for me, guys. Thank you very much. See you soon. Guys, if you enjoy my videos, then give this poor bald guy a subscription. Making these videos takes huge amount of time because I do them by myself. So the least you can do to support me is hit the subscribe button, and if you are in a good mood, share my video. Lots of love from your Greek guy.